Morning, 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 morning. How are we?
Good morning. We are very well, thank you. And how
Morning,
are
Rita.
we? How is
Good.
the royal we?
Well, royal we, yes. How are we? I was just, well, it's not very royal this morning, very regal. Although if you were to have like a, a little crown on there, I think that would suit you down to the ground. I think that'd look well. Nice gold one, perhaps.
Some sort of plastic tiara. I'm sure there's one floating about.
Well, I'm sure there is. Anyway, listen, it's cold. A bit chilly around the parts, to say the least. And it's the time of year where everybody is going around to try and get Christmas sorted for the reasons probably not genuine. They think that's what they have to do. People are getting poorly and all that kind of stuff. And I saw a picture on social media, and this is probably a taboo subject in a way, and I'm just curious. A little while ago, there was a picture of this elderly gentleman. He's got his old cardigan and coat on, and he's putting his hands up towards what isn't effectively an old gas fire, which is a lot of old people may still have. And there he is trying to keep warm, which is fine. That I understand that. And then the message under there was saying, maybe we should stop sending so much money abroad and look after the people who can't keep warm in their own country. Now, there's controversy over that because people say, oh, well, it's a racist comment or whatever. But surely, I mean, as a mother, you take care of your own and your children first before you then would help anybody else, because that seems like a natural thing to do. Is that something that you think this country ought to look at a little bit more, or do you think they've got it all wrong? I mean, I don't know. I honestly do not know.
I don't believe that we should be buying into a government or a media that says that you can't do both. Absolutely, if you have people starving and unable to heat their homes in this country, that has to be a priority. Just if my children were sick or in need, that would be my priority. But that doesn't stop me helping another child if I see them in distress. It doesn't stop me helping another mother if I can see that she's unable to care for her child because she doesn't have the funds to pay for clothes or anything like that. You can do both, and I believe that there is a faction of society who are trying to create divides, and it's been going on since 2016. It's been going on since Brexit, when we had obviously a referendum that was relatively close, and it doesn't matter what side you came down on, you came down, most people, on a side. And since then it's been propagated by the media that we should have sides, that suddenly everything is them and us, or you and me. And it isn't. We are a country as a team. And yes, we send money abroad to help other countries, but equally, if we didn't, they would be in an even worse state of affairs, which would then, as a globe, put us in an even worse position as well. We need to look at how we're going to create energy supplies from different places. We need to look at creating relationships with other countries that's going to allow us to have, a society that works for our people at home. And I absolutely agree that if you've got an elderly veteran unable to heat his home, that should be a priority. But I don't agree that if you do that, you can't then help other people. Why can't we do both? If we can spend nigh on 300 billion on PPE that basically went to waste, if we can spend about 70 billion a year storing PPE that never got used, if we can spend huge amounts of money on these government contracts that actually led to nothing, of course we can look after people at home and countries in need. It's government waste in ridiculous areas that has caused the issues, not them and us. And I don't buy into the them and us, and I don't think I ever will.
No, I understand that. I always go on, I look at the premise that if you're on I've said this many times, if you're on an aircraft, there's going to be a problem. They encourage you to put your mask on first because you can't breathe, you can't help someone else. And that there may be an analogy in that. Right, let's move away from that and get on to Crimbo. So Crimbo in your house looks like it's going to be in full swing. I was speaking to my brother yesterday, and his trees and lights and everything's going on. Is it possible that people at this time of year, and we may have touched on it before, think that, yes, they have to do this, they have to get that, they have to have, the children have to have the best, and, they have to have the food on the table at a certain time? Is it like a ritual?
Well, yeah, absolutely. There are rituals in this country, just like every country across the globe has rituals around certain celebrations. Other cultures take Diwali. There are certain rituals around Diwali, certain rituals around Thanksgiving, around Hanukkah. Depending on the country, the culture, and the religion, there are an awful lot of rituals. And absolutely, when it comes to family, kids especially, every family wants to give the children as much as they can at Christmas. But what we tend to do, I feel, is that we go into a mindset around Christmas that creates an over exacerbation of indulgence, whether that's in bits of plastic that never see the light of day again, whether it's in spending money on food, whatever it might be. And it's almost like this time of year, let's just go completely decadent on everything and start again in normality in January. It's the sort of, like I see with my clients, the sort of I'll begin on Monday kind of mindset. And that mindset will never, ever get anyone anywhere. That kind of mindset, when you think I'll start again on January the 1st or I'll start again on Monday, makes it seem like this pocket of time is somehow unique and it won't be happening again next year and the year after and the year after. We know it does. So we can't just neglect it and say, well, this is a sort of a unique situation. It isn't. We don't need to go into debt. We don't need to put on £10 in a month. We don't need to do all of these things to still enjoy our time. It depends what you believe what your perception of celebration is. My perception is spending time with loved ones.
Yeah.
Well,
so there's nothing wrong with that. And to be honest, that ought to be encouraged, because time is you can't buy time in that respect. You have to give time in that sort of environment, particularly families and friends and that sort of thing. But is it one of those? Remember that old adage: "Don't put off today till tomorrow what you can do today." Is that still an old wives' tale that would apply today?
Well, it depends what we're talking about. If we're talking about my area, so sort of health and body, then yes, absolutely. Because when we say that we'll start on Monday, we'll start on January the 1st, then it creates this mentality that your body, your health has a beginning and an end. Because if something has a beginning, it must have an end point. So if you start again on January the 1st, you're already telling your mind and putting yourself in a frame of reference that says, I will do a diet or I'll do something for a period of time and then I will stop. But your body and health is something that is every single day. There's no such thing as the right mindset, because I hear people often say, I need to be in the right frame of mind. Well, if you try and do everything in perfect context, so January the 1st, you haven't got stress or pressure on you, whatever it might be, and you try and get healthy and lose weight in the perfect context, what happens the day that something doesn't quite go your way? What happens when you hit next Christmas? What happens when that frame of mind, which, by the way, there's no such thing as the perfect frame of mind when it comes to getting healthy, what happens when that frame of mind disappears for a couple of days because of stress, because of illness, because of kids off school, whatever it might be? Then you haven't learned how to continue to lose or maintain weight and be healthy during normality. You've almost created a bubble of unrealistic situational experience, which says, for this 2 months, from January the 1st, I'll be in the right frame of mind and I'll lose a load of weight, and then something will trigger me. I'm out of that frame of mind and I have no idea how to deal with it other than binge. And then, they spend a week eating huge amounts of food and then I'll start again on a Monday. So every time we say I'll start on, it's creating this perception that your body has a beginning. It doesn't. If you want to be healthy and lose weight and not think about having to lose weight for the rest of your life, it has to become a way of being through January all the way through to Christmas and New Year's and carry on. It can't be something that you pick and drop and pick and drop. Otherwise, that's where this cycle of yo-yo dieting comes in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But I'm always a great believer in a way of things that they're not things not necessarily black and white in that sense. In the it's either this or it's that. There must be grey areas. There must be things where they overlap. For example, you're saying that you're starting on this healthy journey from there, and you're saying that you stay on that. Is there not the old adage whereby you can just step away from that for a moment and then drop back into it, as opposed to stop and start, just press the pause button, if you like? But that's not really the answer. But do you think that's what people do?
Yeah, the thing is, pressing the pause button is they're making this assumption that whatever you're doing when that button is pressed is not the right thing for you. You can be a very healthy person and still go out and have a takeaway and have a glass of wine. You can be a very healthy person who cares for themselves and nourishes their body and still goes on holiday and maybe has those little cakes that you see on the buffet and still enjoys their life and has a pizza and does this. A healthy person who is just naturally a healthy person understands that doesn't mean you're pausing. It means that you're just choosing for a slightly different reason in that moment. If I choose to have a Domino's, it's because I'm choosing it for the experience, not because it's necessarily nourishing my body. But then the next morning I'll wake up and I'll choose to have my protein porridge or my poached eggs and asparagus. I'll choose something that does nourish my body. So when you're on this, I'll start on January the 1st and there will be an end date, it's almost saying within that frame of time, everything has to be good. To me, there's no such thing as good and bad food. It's just food. But everything has to be good. Everything has to be restricted. And then you finally get to the end of that period of time. And then, I get to have all of these kind of foods like chocolate and cake and all of these kind of things, which actually don't have a negative effect if you have them once a week or once in a while. It's when you see them as something that you shouldn't have, and then we overindulge on them, just like at Christmas. All of these things that people overindulge on are the kind of foods that they believe that are scarce at every other time of year. I better have 3 pieces of Yule log because I can't have it in January. Why not? I'm sure you can have a piece of Yule log or stollen or a pig in blanket in July if you want. They're not scarce. We don't need to suddenly fill up on them and then just only eat vegetables in January. There's no such thing as pause. It's just you're choosing for different reasons.
Okay, well, would be more of a case of using another old adage, everything in moderation. Is that a better way of looking at it?
Yeah, so I see it in the sense of all food are friends, right? And we just have friends that we need in different quantities. So we have the day-to-day friends that we could talk to every single day about mundane stuff, about the weather, about job, about kids, and they're good for us. And that kind of thing is your whole chicken, your brown rice, your beautiful vegetables, your fruit, those kind of friends that we can have every single day, and they're good for us. And then we also have friends who are still friends. They're not bad, but maybe they're the kind of people where you're like, they say, let's go out, and you know that they're going to go shots, tequila, right? They're the kind of friends that you can handle, but maybe once a month or once every couple of weeks. And they're still good for you. They're amazing for your quality of life. You need them because they make you smile. They make you happy. They give you excitement, fun, but just not every single day. That's how I see food. There's no such thing as good or bad. They're all just friends in different proportions.
Okay. All right. Well, that gives us something to think about. Well, look, I know you've got clients coming up, and it's time to go. Listen, we'll be with you next week. You'll be with us next week.
Yes, next week.
You had
absolutely.
to think about that, didn't you? Had to think about that just for a minute.
I don't know. I was like, is it Christmas yet? No, it's not. We will be here next week.
All right. Okay. Listen, Rita, thank you very much. Enjoy your day, and I hope your clients take on all that wonderful information you give them. And if they don't, I'll send the boys around. That's what I'll
have a wonderful day.
All right, Rita. You take care. We'll speak to you soon. Ta-da.
Bye.